and welcome to the table. I'm Rachel and today I am joined by Melody, Rachel and Mary Ellen. How are you girls?
Good, thanks.
Good. Really well. Good to have you on board. Well, later up in our show today we're going to be speaking to Daniel Bell. He's a stay-at-home dad. He's going to give us the lowdown on what it's really like. But first we're going to be talking about sleeping and the really controversial topic of co-sleeping versus crib sleeping. Now there was an article in parenting.com recently that actually had a look at these two, but instead of just pointing out the facts, they actually looked at why people chose to do this. It is a controversial topic because death can result if you roll over and squish your baby. It has been linked to SIDS in some way in those sort of deaths, so it is controversial, it's sensitive. But I want to find out, Melody, did you co-sleep with your son?
I prefer not to, but I have done it to the extent.
So why have you done it if you prefer not to?
It's so much easier to just actually fall back asleep. Wow, Elliot likes sleeping next to us, and so if he actually comes into bed with us, he actually falls asleep and sleeps really well. And so when you really want that sleep, I have done it where I've just grabbed him, manhandled him while he's like kicking, and it's like, you're going to sleep with me.
Sleep better then?
Yeah.
Okay. Right.
Well, I think it's opposite for me because Jax won't sleep in the bed with us, and maybe it's just because we haven't had the habit of doing it, so he hasn't gotten used to it. The only time we did was when he was in hospital, and I had to sleep next to him just to keep him calm while we were there. So I think in the days after he got used to it, but then not for long, extensive periods of time.
Well, that's great though, because I know a lot of co-sleeping babies have problems kind of being, I guess, weaned out of it, and that can be a problem for some parents. So yeah, that's good.
It can be. It can almost be scary admitting what you do with your kids and how they sleep because I know people have asked me, and when I first had children, I was against co-sleeping very much. I was like, no, that's too dangerous, not going there. I was that first paranoid mum, first time, didn't go there. But by the time I had my third child, I was like, come on in, you know. But I do find it incredibly hard to sleep next to someone, and co-sleeping is literally sleeping next to someone. I can't even sleep that close to my husband. I'm like, move over, I need space. Co-sleeping is off for me.
The thing about children is that they're horrible bed hogs.
Actually, I think probably the best kind of balance in this equation is to have one of those, like, what are they called? Like side... Have you seen them, like the side crib?
Yeah, like a side crib, but they're missing a bit, so you're sort of right next to them.
Exactly, because then they're right there, and you can breastfeed or whatever, but you don't have to be in the same bed as them.
It is actually safer. We've actually this is... It's because of the danger, right? You know, it's always at the back of your mind. And Elliot does co-sleep with us sometimes. It's actually gotten to the point where sometimes in the middle of the night, I'll have my husband just going randomly, and he grabs hold to me. And it's because he thinks that he's asleep, but he thinks that Elliot's in bed, and so he thinks, I'm Elliot, and I'm going to roll out of bed. So you can see that it's really in your subconscious that it's really dangerous.
I mean, there's lots of cultures where they co-sleep, you know, just for space, the space that they have in that house, you know. But the issue, I think, for some people is about attachment parenting. It's all about different methods of parenting that people have, you know.
Well, is it parents' needs being met or kids' needs being met?
Actually, I have a pretty real question about that. How does it affect your sex life? And I'm just going to be completely honest there, because if there's a baby in the bed with you, I know like having kids can be a hard enough transition as it is, right? Especially for your relationship. So surely it has negative impacts co-sleeping there. I don't know.
I reckon kids impact your sex life anyway.
Well, yeah, okay.
But yeah, I can't imagine it would do great things for it if someone else is there. Absolutely.
Nah.
Do you think there's enough education around it? Because there are experts who say, yes, it's really beneficial. There's, long-term great benefits for it. You know, they have higher self-esteem, they do better in school later. Do you think we're getting enough education around it and what's actually safe co-sleeping?
I think sometimes we overthink it too much. I don't know. I don't know if I co-slept or if I was in a cot, and it doesn't affect me, you know, and I don't think it really affects you. Once you're an adult, once you've grown up, does it really have a huge impact?
Well, I think the best advice that I ever got given, right, is do what you can to survive.
Yeah.
And so if co-sleeping works for you, then...
I think another piece of advice I got as well was do what you're prepared to continue doing. Yeah. So I think sometimes, you know, we have to think about what are we prepared to do in the long term. And I think the survival is totally key. I've gotten lots of advice when I've gone to community nurses or from doctors, and I think, well, you're not there with me at 2 o'clock in the morning when I have to take care of my kids.
Yeah, that's right. And it's a really tiring experience. Look, there are safe ways of doing it. You can look it up on the Red Nose website, on all sorts of websites, to do it as safely as you possibly can if that's the road and path that you're going to choose. You can have your say on Facebook. We'd actually like to hear and continue that conversation. So let us know what you do and maybe why you've done it, but we'll keep the conversation really respectful of each other and what each other does. We're going to stay on the topic of sleeping, but hopefully this is a breath of fresh air because...
Good one.
Thanks. There is There's a preschool over in Perth, and it was reported by the New Zealand Herald that they have the kids sleeping outside for their afternoon nap time. Now, I've not actually heard of this being done anywhere else, but they were finding that kids were really sick and coming to preschool sick. So they thought, right, in March, we're going to start an 11-week process and have a go at doing this. Parents, you know, got to have a say in it, so it was all legit. And they found after 11 weeks, less than 1% of those kids had colds and flus and winter-related illnesses. What do you reckon? Would you send your kid outside to have a nap?
I don't think...
That's a no.
No, I think that there's an age limit. So I think it's kids over the age of, I think it was 2 who are able to go out to do it, 2 or 5.
Yeah, and there was an opt-out thingy as well.
They can opt out as well.
Yeah.
You know, it's not that unique of an idea because I think in Scandinavian countries, a lot of times they'll put the crib outside and let the baby sleep in a crib outside at a very...
Scandinavia is always one step ahead, I swear.
Colder over there. Would you do it in the cold in winter?
Well, they just rug them up inside of their little
I think
crib.
if you're appropriately dressed, that's fine. But yeah, that's the first thing that I think of. Okay, sleeping outside. What if it rains? Do they have enough blankets?
Yeah, and they were all
Don't
kind of
do it in the rain, but...
Well, yeah. But they were also kind of sleeping on their mattresses in the dirt, like in the bark and in the sand. And I was thinking, what about bug bites? And what about like just getting dirty and
It just
stuff?
builds their immunity.
I think
Well,
that's
that's
what the
true.
dirt does. I think that's why they're saying that it's keeping the kids a little healthier.
Yeah,
you know?
maybe.
But fresh air's got to be really good for you. When my kids are sick, I will often send them out like with a blanket and a pillow. I'm like, go and just sit outside and lie down if you're not feeling well all day.
There's
You
the
know?
sunshine as
So you're
well.
already
Yeah.
practicing this, you know?
Yeah,
You're a
yeah,
step
yeah.
ahead of everyone else.
But would you feel okay if a preschool did it with your kid and you weren't there to sort of... Would it bother you?
No, I don't think so. Well, I mean, he's got to sleep, and as long as he's not, you know, in the lion's den with the lion, he can sleep outside if he wants
Well,
to.
I guess the alternative is being inside in air conditioning.
Air conditioning.
We went from co-sleeping to like sitting your kid outside to sleep in the dirt.
With me next to him. Yeah.
But don't you feel good when you walk out of like a building that you've been in, it's air conditioning or stuff, or you're off a plane and you're just like,
Yeah,
feel like
actually,
you can
I was
breathe
reading
better.
something. It was a study by the National Health Prevention Medicine Journal, a bit of a mouthful, but it said that there's this thing called plant bathing, and basically plants actually, I don't understand the science behind it, you can Google it, but plants actually give off certain chemicals that are really good for our immunity, and it's the plants themselves, not even so much being in the sun. I mean, that's great as well. But I just thought that was so interesting. Like, we should be spending all our time outside, opening windows, stopping the aircon being on, because
Yeah. I think we probably undervalue fresh air,
Yeah.
what it can do for us.
definitely.
Yeah, I think so too. There's probably more studies, I'm sure, about to come out. But I know they put the article out there in the hope that other preschools and childcare centres would do the same thing because they're having great success with it. Well, coming up, we've got Gia cooking. And first of all, we've got Mandy making some linen spray. I don't even know what linen spray is. Have a look and let's find out.
I don't know about you, but I love it when my house smells fresh and clean. Doesn't always look fresh and clean, but if it smells that way, then I feel great. I'm going to show you how to make a really simple spray to help freshen up your home. This spray also helps to promote sleep, so it is great to spray on your bed at night time. So very simple steps for this spray. We're going to fill up a glass bottle 2/3 with water. And the remaining third we're going to fill with the isopropyl alcohol. Now this just basically helps to dry out the mixture so it doesn't leave water stains wherever you spray it. Lastly, we're going to add about 20 drops of lavender essential oil. If you want to create a spray to uplift and revitalise you, then I suggest swapping the lavender oil for some citrus essential oil. It is so easy to add a little bit more if you like a stronger scent, or a little bit less if you just like a small hint of the scent. So just give that a little bit of a mix up, and then you're ready to go and spray that on your bed before you go to sleep to help promote a nice, calm, restful sleep. I hope you enjoyed this simple hack for creating a nice, calm environment. If you've enjoyed this and tried it, we'd love to hear from you on our Facebook page. You can find us at The Table TV Show. Look forward to hearing from you and seeing you next time.
And today I'm just about to show you, or we're just about to show you, how to make the most delicious, nutritious breakfast ever. And the good thing about this is you can pre-make it on a Sunday, and that's what I do. And that way you've got breakfast for the whole week for the whole family. I'm only gonna make 2, aren't we? Just to show them, right? And I'll show you how to make 2, but say there's 1 person, make 5. Okay, Dave, so I use half a cup. You wanna put it in for me? Half a cup of oats, half a cup of any non-dairy milk. Or if you want to use milk, that's fine. Yeah, hold on. Okay, go. There we go. A tablespoon of chia seeds, so you're getting your omega-3s and heaps of fibre every morning without having to do much work. And 1 tablespoon, or actually just a half tablespoon of honey, or even just a teaspoon or half a teaspoon. You might not want it too sweet because there's going to be banana in it, so it's, yeah, not too bad. Almond butter, this really makes it. So half a tablespoon of almond butter, mixed through, and we mix it right at the end. You can actually have that because I know how much you love it. And now I mashed a whole banana, and I actually use a whole banana for 5. So I just put like a tablespoon in each one. And people ask me, does the banana go brown? But it actually doesn't, it's fine, because once you mix it through. And now I'm just gonna mix it through together. Done. And then you pack them in the fridge, stack them, ready to go. And in the morning, I love to throw some blueberries. You like blueberries, don't you? Blueberries or strawberries or some fruit on top. And I've got 2 here to actually show you what they look like. And Olive is gonna taste it for me, aren't you? So this is what it looks like in the morning. And there you have it, your nutritious breakfast. And if you are driving and you can't eat before you go home, before you go to work, just take it with you. Easy peasy. You taste it, tell me what you think.
Yeah.
Is it good? Yeah, thumbs up.
Awesome. And look, if you wanted to find that recipe that Gia had with overnight oats, you can actually get it in our magazine, our latest one, October issue. And if you'd like to get a free magazine every month, don't forget to jump onto our website, thetabletv.com, and you can sign up there for a monthly free magazine. Well, I know as an adult sometimes it can be a challenge to make friends, and there's no exception when it comes to having kids and then trying to re-enter a friendship with new people who've had kids, or if your friends haven't had kids. And in a British newspaper, the Sun.co.uk, they reported 92% of British mums feel lonely despite having access to all of this social media. And the lady who wrote the article said that she actually became friends with a mum who was so lonely and desperate that she was actually handing out personal business cards saying, "Call me, I need friends."
Oh, wow.
Oh my goodness.
At least she's proactive.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
But how do you feel about making friends, like, once you've had kids? Because you can feel really isolated, right?
Well, you know what, to be honest, I feel like having kids actually opens up an opportunity to make more friends. Having moved to a new country, I found it hard to break into friendship groups when people have already had established friends. But when you jump into that mom pool, it's like a new pool of friends that you can make. I think the hard part is that being a mom, sometimes it can feel very judgy. You can feel like, you know, as we talked about with the co-sleeping.
It can be intimidating.
Yeah, so it might be hard to put yourself out there and be scared about what people will say.
I think that's the difficult thing, is getting out there, because, you know, especially a lot of new moms who find it really difficult to even leave the house. But once you do leave the house, you're right, there is an instant pool of friends that you could potentially have.
But it can also be exhausting, and you just don't necessarily mentally feel ready to get out there. You know you should, but sometimes being a new mum, you can be so exhausted, you're just not ready to face it yet. But
also,
challenging.
But also what you're saying about judgment, definitely exhaustion is a big factor. But with judgment, I think sometimes, I mean, I'm not a mum, so I don't know, but sometimes it can be really hard to be vulnerable about what you're going through. And vulnerability is the key to deep connections. And I think you can have all the people around you in the world, but if you don't have deep understanding connections with people, you're going to feel lonely.
I think that's so true, the idea of vulnerability. I'm in a mom's group online, and just yesterday, one of the moms, she has an 8-week-old, and she said, "I am really, really struggling." And she just put it out there, and I think probably about 20 people just jumped in and gave her support. But it's hard to put yourself out there and be vulnerable and say, "I'm struggling."
The article I read also went on to say that mums that see other mums looking really good at school and look like they're in that sort of cliquey group, it just is intimidating, and they don't feel like people approach them. And it even talked about different cultures, Muslim women feeling that not many people come up to them either to sort of connect with them. So it's not just, you know, it's a problem for everyone.
But I think, yeah, that's the problem, is because, you know, we always see and we always compare ourselves to other people and think that they're doing so much better. Why would they want to come and talk to us? But I think everyone, you may look all right, but I think we've all got our own struggles as well.
Yeah.
It is, but I think you're right. Like, it's really important to sort of show your flaws and be honest, because that's when you can actually connect and relate to other people.
Exactly. And I don't not to take it too much off being a mum, because I know how difficult that must be. I don't know how difficult that must be, rather. But I don't think it's restricted to that. I think just coming to that adult space, I know personally, sort of, when you're in school, you just have friends. It's like a given. And then sort of transitioning to adulting, I don't know, can be difficult in itself, because I think there also is that, striving for having a good career and striving for all these like new things that do take away that vulnerability as well. So I think, just being aware of it is really important no matter what stage you're at.
It's true, because most of my good friends, like I'm thinking of the really close friends, right, are the ones that I've made in school.
Wow.
And like the ones, I have friends as an adult, but it's just not as deep.
Right, okay.
But it might just be because of time as well, because, we spend this many number of years together.
And you would have invested a lot of time in the front end when you were in school with those people.
Yeah.
Rach, you were saying before, like, you were on Facebook, you're on a group of mums, but what's another way that, like, mums can actually sort of reach out? I guess you can put out your own personal business card. Like, I know there is a website called Playdate Australia, and they refer to it as Tinder for parents.
Oh, gosh.
But they say that's a way, if you're lonely in your area, try and connect with people in your community. So they're trying to, gather a whole heap of mums on there. But is there any other ways that you can think of?
You
You go.
I was just going to say, I think sometimes we're always expecting things to happen, and sometimes we have to create the situation that we want. And maybe handing out your business card isn't the smartest way to do it. But I think reaching out to other people, and you'll probably be surprised at how many other people would be receptive to it and who want community.
Definitely.
And I think if you just bring your child to the park, the number of times I've gone, I just bring him to the park and people come up and talk to you.
You just strike up a conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, look, you can always connect with us here at the table. We're happy to have you chat to us. We're happy to support you and vice versa. Well, we've got coming up Alicia, and she's got some exercise tips for us. So we'll catch a load of that.
Hi, it's Alicia here, and I'm the table personal trainer. Today we're going to actually look at doing a couple of upper body exercises where you still don't need any weights at all, any equipment, so you can do it anywhere, anytime, no matter where you are. And lovely Fiona is going to be our demo, which is awesome. So, Fiona, this is the first move. It's called a high pulley. So you would have probably, if you've ever been to a gym, seen the bar that you can pull back like this. So basically,
Good question. Have you ever been to a gym?
I'm sure you have. Yeah.
Long time ago.
Many
moons ago.
Oh, good.
Before kids.
So the whole idea is that you can actually still get those same muscles activated without any weight by just doing that movement. So if you put your hands out and you just pull them back and squeeze those shoulder blades. Come a bit over here for me. Yeah. And if you just squeeze those shoulder blades together, can you feel those muscles at the back?
Yeah, but you're supposed to do it with a little bit of pressure?
Exactly, with a little bit of pressure, okay? That's it, awesome.
Okay.
All right, so this is actually going to help really stretch out through the chest as well. And if you've been a mum and you've breastfed for a while and you've been all over forward, this kind of a move is going to be really good for actually opening up that chest, okay?
I'm just looking at it going, I want to do that.
It's a good stretch as well. Now, the second move is what I affectionately call the crab walk. It's going to be down on the floor, and this is going to help get those triceps happening, okay? So I want you to come down and just basically sit here with your hands behind you. Try to have your fingers facing forward as well. And then you're going to lift your butt up off the ground, and you're going to walk forward. Now go.
So someone like me who has a shoulder injury,
Yes.
how am I going to be able to do something like that?
Absolutely, great question. So instead
And then
of
just back and forth?
Yeah, exactly. Just keep going. Instead of doing it on the floor, I would actually get you to just kneel here and put your arms back like that, and squeeze, and that's going to still get that same muscle activation.
Okay.
Yeah, so you wouldn't have to have any body weight on it, but you're just focusing on squeezing right there. Yep, and that would work.
Really, sometimes if we don't have weights, we can just
Do the same ones. Exactly. So the same, like a bicep curl. You wouldn't need to have a weight, but you can still activate that muscle by doing the move.
or a couple of cans of asparagus spears or baked beans, some baked beans.
The crab walk?
Yep, and a way that you can just do a really simple workout is you pick 3 exercises. Say you got the bicep, the crab walk, and then the pulley. And you say, I'm going to do 5 reps on each, and I'm just going to continue. I've got 10 minutes spare. I'm going to keep doing that as many times as possible in 10 minutes. Now, you're going to feel that at the end of 10 minutes, right? Because you've basically had no rest.
Kind of feeling it after 20 seconds.
No, it's good. And so that is called an AMRAP workout, as many rounds as possible. okay? And you could just pick any 3 exercises, and whatever time you got, 5 minutes even. If you just continually did that for 5 minutes, your muscles will be better, okay?
Because I don't have any of this stuff at home, so this is good.
Exactly. You want it to be doable, right? You need to have things that you can do anywhere with minimal equipment. Yeah. So that's what I would recommend for, upper body stuff. A couple of new exercises for you to try.
Excellent.
So if you at home want to try some of these exercises, go to our YouTube channel. The link should be there right on the screen for you, and you can do some of these workouts with me at home anywhere, just short 10-minute workouts. I'm sure you'll enjoy them. Bye.
Well, today we've got Daniel Bell in the studio with us. He's a stay-at-home dad, and he makes up the 4% of stay-at-home dads that are in Australia at the moment. Daniel, welcome. Thank you for joining us at the table.
Thanks, Rachel.
We want to get the lowdown and make sure, the myths match up with reality here. We're just going to let everyone know. Melody, you just, make sure he has honest answers because, these are partners in crime here with their son. So you have a son. How old is he?
He's 14 months old now.
He's 14 months. Okay, So how long have you been doing the stay-at-home dad thing?
Full-time, just by myself for about 6 months.
Okay.
But I had a sort of bit of a long introduction that I ended up being made redundant from my previous job. And so that was at Christmas time. And so then we decided to go on a bit of a long holiday. And so, we had several months there and then back at home before she started back at work. So
okay, and how are you finding it?
pretty good.
Long pregnant pause.
It's certainly different to what I was doing before. So yeah.
Okay, because there's an article that was it was in the Daily Telegraph, and it talked about men who are stay-at-home dads and how that they're finding that there's diseases are popping up like ulcers, heart problems, chronic lung disease because they're losing a sense of masculinity. Is that something that you can agree with or identify with at all, or you think it's rubbish?
Yeah, certainly. Like the societal view of women are the primary caregivers. Being the man coming in to be the primary caregiver, it was like a bit of a concern type thing, like small one in the back of my mind really, that mostly you're able to do the job, not breastfeeding initially, but we were already onto bottles by that time when I started.
Okay, and do you get odd reactions from anyone, maybe like in a change room or out in the park or anything like that at all?
A few times, like at the store, like sometimes people will say, like, "Oh, you're looking after the kids today," or "Looking after the kid," What, we've only got one.
Yeah.
You're looking after the kid today, and usually I just say, because it's a brief interaction, that I'll just go, "Oh yeah," like I won't bother going, "No, actually I'm the full-time guy. I do this every day." But just because that's a brief interaction, that I don't pick them up on that. But yeah, people will say, because I'm the male looking after the kid, that I'm just doing it just for the day type thing.
Yeah, okay. Well, I guess it's culturally, most mums are going to be doing that role.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
But he's actually just joined into my mother's group. So he's like the thorn among the roses. With all the mothers and the mothers
Or
group.
the rose among the thorns.
Oh, yeah.
So how do you find going into a bunch of women into like a mother's group? Are you the only male in that group?
It's a Facebook group that was set up when, like, mothers that had given birth around that time, like the community health system was set up. And so, yeah, it's all women in the group. And then I just got added in when we switched, when Melody went back to work. And, just sort of meet up with them at the park from time to time and things. So it's fine, but a bit weird. That
I would imagine that you'd have a really unique perspective. What are some things that you think that you're able to teach Elliot, or just in that interaction, that you think maybe mothers aren't able to provide?
Well, one thing that Melody's mentioned already, that I sort of let him play in the dirt a bit more than she would let him play in the dirt.
That's important as a boy, I think.
Yeah.
Have adventure. So
yeah, I'm fine with that. He sometimes eats it, which I try not to let him do that, but...
Try.
Yeah, so tell me, how does the difficulty of being a stay-at-home dad compare with the difficulty of work? Like, can you even compare them? Or, like, has this been just something that's been totally out of your comfort zone, or have you, like, adapted well to it, you know?
I thought that there might be a bit more spare time, free time, while looking after him, and that yeah, I'd be able to, you know, like, he'd sit there and he'd play with his things and I could do some things. And I wrote about it in the article that's in the book that, you know, when I was just starting off, and I was like, oh, I just want to get this email that I thought was important. And yeah, I was just like trying to start, and then he's like starting to get into something else, trying to climb up something.
I totally identify, because I work from home with my son, and yeah, sometimes you just want to hit the send button and you can't.
Yeah.
Do you come across many other dads at all? Like full-time stay-at-home dads?
Yes, there's a few. There's the Facebook group North Shore Mums, and there's a smaller subset of that called North Shore Dads, which is a separate group, but it's a lot smaller. There's thousands of people on the North Shore Mums, but there's a few hundred people on the North Shore Dads. And when I first started off, I put a post up, you know, I'm switching to come in as the primary carer if anyone wants to meet up. And there was one that was down in sort of Artarmon, so a bit sort of further away, but another guy that was up here in Hornsby, but his daughter's just gone to school this year, but he'd been looking after them before. But I met up with him and sort of sometimes go to the park with him type thing as well.
Seem to be kind of few and far between in that sense.
Yeah, it's certainly the smaller thing, although just this week I go to a playgroup on Wednesday, and there's maybe 15 people there, and there was 4 dads were there.
Someone's really
it's on the rise.
This time, so that was like, usually there's maybe one and myself, but one of them's a shift worker that he switches with his wife or partner.
Are you involved in a church or any playgroups there? Because I know they often have like free playgroups around.
This playgroup is through a church. It's a Uniting Church
Awesome.
at Normanhurst. But our own church that we go to at Chatswood has a kids club on Saturday morning, so like we get to go there and do singing and things, singing songs and craft and so on. But we're sort of, because I've done the most work through the week looking after him, that Melody sort of tends to try to give me a break and look after him a bit on Saturday.
Yeah. Do you find that being with that church is sort of a really good support for your any loneliness or isolation?
With the church there where we are at Chatswood, like, it's sort of a broad area where people come from, so we're not sort of right by the church there to just be able to just like, I'm just popping down to the park.
I think the big question is, though, does Melody actually ask you what you've done all day at home? Look, thanks for joining us here at the table. You can find us on Facebook. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel. But for now, we'll see you next time. Bye.